sky blue days. These are sky blue days. The CBS and the SBA will fight to the end and lead the way. Sing out together. These are sky blue days. These are sky blue days. The CBS and the SBA will fight to the end and lead the way. Sing out together. Sky Blue Fans TV, for the fans, by the fans.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sky Blue Fans TV. My name's Mark Smith. Tonight we'll be talking about the disappointing result at Norwich yesterday, 3-0 defeat. Our show is sponsored by our friends at the Sky Blue Tavern, Dylan's Brewery, CCFC Fan Store, CCFC Print, should I say, Mr. View Sky, and Ivy Lucy Designs. Like my voice at my mouth. Tonight I've been joined by my colleague, Mr. Reece Small. How are we doing, Reece?
Not bad. Could have been better, but hey, that's life.
Yeah, we both sat next to each other at the game yesterday. Disappointing game. Let's start off with team selection. I guess is the most interesting part of the, one of the interesting parts of yesterday. Mark Robins made a few changes. He opted for one up front, but I think what surprised a lot of people was neither Massey Godden or Big Vic Gyökeres were starting. He opted for Tyler Walker. He played the extra midfielder as well. What was your thoughts going into that? Was it just, obviously, it was pretty surprising, wasn't it?
Well, it was a shock, Mark. To be honest, I think the shocks we saw, all the fans we were speaking to were saying exactly the same. So it's not the fact that it was just our opinion. It seemed across the board that it was strange. It was strange Tyler Walker starting up front on his own, because I think Tyler Walker's strengths don't really fit into our playing model, should we say. He doesn't give us that outlet that Vic does when he plays there up on his own. He gets about, he presses high. Godden obviously does what he does, natural goal scorer, and works hard himself. Wasn't really in the game, was he? But very surprising in the lineup. I think playing the extra man in midfield, it's all well and good playing the extra man in field, but the game plan has to be high press, I think. If you're gonna, we spoke before the game, didn't we? Well, on the Thursday pod, saying about how we need to, if we're going to play the extra man, we need to press high and stop Norwich from playing. And I just think the timing of the goals. I mean, the first 15 minutes we concede, and we do get the equaliser, but gets ruled offside, I believe. So that was disappointing. But it might have given us a bit more momentum in them belief if that equaliser stood. But and then we're going to give a goal away, which I'm sure we'll cover just before our time, which again just effectively killed us off, I think.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on the team. I think first of all, I said on the last show, I would have gone right up front. But I think what surprised me was who he went for. I mean, Robins at the interview after the game was talking about wanting more pace from his strikers. I think possibly because Godden and Gyökeres were playing midweek. But for me, if you're going to go down the one striker route, I think Victor Gyökeres would have been the person I'd have had, because he's the only real player who can hold the ball up and can turn and run at players and bring the team a bit further up the field of play. That's the way I would have gone. I don't think, to be fair to Tyler Walker, wasn't too bad. He done okay. He missed one chance in the first half. He was sitting where we were sitting, wasn't the best of seats, but he looked really close. But I think upon replay, it was actually quite fair wide. As I say, I don't have a problem with the one up front, because I guess Robin's concern was at the start of the game is we don't want Norwich to be playing through us and getting into those sort of pockets, so to speak, which obviously as the match unfolds, that doesn't seem to work. So I get the thinking. I would have gone the same route personally. I've got no problems with the tactics, but the personnel for me was very surprising. Possibly would have I possibly would have dropped Jamie Allen and had Josh Eccles into centre midfield. That's the only other thing I may have done, but I think it was an okay side from that point. I could get that. I did get the argument having two up front, but I think when you're playing top of the league, a very good side, I think it's one of them games where you get hit on the brake a bit when you're trying to go a bit too gung ho. That's just my view, but that's just my view. But would you have gone two up front?
Well, I probably would have, but it's a matter of opinion. I think it was the way to stop Norwich playing is getting bodies in and around them, and playing Walker up top gave us neither at all. I think Palmer, I thought, was a bit harsh taking him off at half time. I thought he was the only player who got on the ball and he looked to try and make things happen. But the problem is, the minute he got the ball in the Norwich half, he was looking around and trying to find a player to give the ball to. I just think he couldn't find any space because he didn't have any support. And the problem is, Tyler Walker doesn't give you that outlet, unfortunately. And if he wanted to play with more pace, then why don't you just throw a complete wild card and start Tavares? Because if that's going to be the case, I'm not saying Tavares should have started, but why don't you just let him loose and just say, okay, he will for 60 minutes he'll chase Harry and give Hanley, is it Hanley, the centre half, who's he's going to have a lot to think about. I mean, playing against Walker, you're not going to get either. You're not going to hold the ball up. I mean, the first 15 minutes, Walker, the ball was played up to him, and he lost the ball 3 times. He's not that player who's going to hold the ball up. So you've got to either play the ball over the top into the space and get Tavares playing behind the lines, or you play Vic and you get him to hold the ball up and bring your midfielders into play. But to be honest, I think this is the only time I've questioned Robins' selection. I think the last 2 games have been a bit of an eye-opener. There's rumours that things have been happening in the training ground or after games. There's potentially a couple of little player spats that have been happening. Maybe that's effectively given him things to think about in his selection. I don't think we'll ever know the truth. There's a lot of speculation, but it's not. We're not very positive at the moment. It's not. It's hard to find positive, should we say?
Yeah, I think obviously what's been going on, off the field has been well documented, hasn't helped. I think the sale of Dom Hine, which kind of went against Robin's wishes, hasn't helped because I'm not saying Hine would have made a massive difference to yesterday's game, but in my opinion, he's been our best, most consistent defender, certainly from last season. And we don't really have a lot of cover really at the back. I don't think the games I've seen Michael Rose play, I've not been that impressed with him. I think he makes too many mistakes. He makes a mistake yesterday for their second goal. Gets caught out of position.
2 mistakes for the goal, really.
Which is
the second goal. He loses the ball and then he doesn't track his player.
Yeah, he's been a bit disappointing. I mean, there's been talk about do we change the formation, but the problem with that is the way we're set up. We rely heavily on our wing backs to provide support to our strikers. We rely on players like Adabo. I think Jake Bidwell has done okay in that position, but I don't think he's a naturally attacking left-sided player. He's more of a defensive player, I'd say, and he's been asked to play in that kind of position. And I think losing Maatsen, obviously, never our player to start with, admittedly, but a player of his quality has been missing. Has been missed a lot, I think, this season. Someone with a natural left, not just natural left foot, but quick and good going forward.
Yeah.
And we miss a player like that. We haven't got that sort of option now, and we've got a very, very thin squad. And it does concern me because if we talk about yesterday's game, we're playing against a side, from a budget point of view, who got a massive budget. I know we've done the double over Fulham last season. You can argue, but let's be honest. This squad is a weaker squad than we had last season.
Yeah,
we don't have the depth. We do desperately miss Callum O'Hare. I think everyone would agree with that. We missed that link between midfield and attack. I feel when we get the ball midfield, the ball doesn't stick up front. it gets, and teams turn over possession very quickly, and then we're having to defend, and that's happening a lot now. We're not able to fulfill a sustained period of pressure, and that's something that is concerning. But having said that, I think Casey Palmer is looking good. I think he's starting to grow. I think into the team. I think maybe Robbins is trying to manage his fitness levels. Possibly, he's not been playing 90 minutes. That's just my view. But individual mistakes are killing us at the moment. I mean, let's look at the goals we've conceded. The first goal, Hamer turns into trouble. He
tries to nutmeg the player 40 yards from our own goal. Ridiculous, silly decision from him.
That's the thing, because of the way they're playing the high press and putting us under pressure. It's they know what they're doing, and they just dispossess us very quickly and bang two or three passes in the back of the net, and that's 1-0. And that's the difference at this level. Is at League One you probably get away with that, in Championship you don't. And it's not just been this particular game; it's been other games this season. We've making individual mistakes, whether it's Simon Moore and goal, defensively, midfield. It's not just one player; it's different players. But we're just not learning at the moment, and individual mistakes are costing us points in this division.
Well, the problem is, from last season that with the amount of games, I think I read, I could well be wrong. Don't quote me on it. 26 games last season, we went behind first. We conceded first. And we've conceded first every game this season, and we've given ourselves an uphill battle straight away. And, for example, yesterday, I mean, I didn't see it until I saw the replay because of the angle we were. But the problem is, what happened with Sheaf last season is he was given the ball with his back to goal, 25 yards from goal. And we blame Sheaf, and yes, they were silly mistakes that we've seen. But Hamer yesterday, the camera angle that I saw, that McFadzean had the ball and he gave it to Hamer, but before he passed it, you saw the player hunting straight Hamer down. He was about 3 or 4 yards away from him. Yeah. And I'm not trying to take the blame away from Hamer because it's ridiculous. You should never try and nutmeg a player in that position when you're sort of the last line of defence for a counter attack. But when you look at it again, the ball McFadzean gives him is just a hospital ball. It's asking for trouble. And when you've got somebody like Pookie, who is not just yesterday, but the season they were down before, he ripped McFadzean apart. McFadzean's not built to play against players like that. So when McFadzean sees that pass, he must have seen that player already judging or reading the pass. Just get rid. I would rather McFadzean pump the ball up 40 yards and he go out for a throw-in in Norwich's half, and we go, oh, for God's sake, rather than giving a stupid goal away 13 minutes on the clock.
Yeah.
Individual mistakes.
Yeah, it also goes back to my point about why I would have gone for Gyökeres up front, because he could play that long ball. And with Gyökeres, he's got that ability to, he's not going to win every header, but he could win you a foul in those positions. I don't see that with Tyler Walker. Tyler Walker is a 6-yard box striker. He needs service. He needs a Dabo or a Jake Bidwell to put a cross in, or whoever to put a cross in, lay it on a plate for him. There you go. Help yourself to a goal. That's the sort of striker he is. He's not a striker who's going to mix it with the defenders. That's not his game. His game is he needs the ball in front of him. Not. He's not a good back to the goal type of striker.
Yeah,
that's my view. Got a few comments coming in from the two Watkins. Let's start with Glenn. Let's bring in the subjects of Mark Robbins. Is he on borrow time?
How you doing, Glenn? Good evening. Is he on borrow time? For me, no. But this is the most challenging time of his career with us, I think. He brought us from, we got relegated, League 2, League 1, good season last season. So it's all been positive. He's been constantly growing the team. We all were expecting to push on from last season. Big expectations. I think this is the first season where we've expected better. League 1 champions, fantastic. Stayed sort of just under mid-table the first season, and last season we just tailed off from from the playoffs. So we're expecting more, but then we had momentum. We didn't really bring in any strength. We didn't add to that, to the momentum, bring in some quality. For whatever reason, we can talk finance, we can talk budgets, but we've lost that edge and the spark. I think it feels like the stuffing's been knocked out of us before we started with the off-field issues, the pitch, the cancelled home games. O'Hare's injury seems to be massive because, like you mentioned, Mark, the link up between midfield and attack. A few little spats over here and there. Robins now has to find a way to get them going. I mean, look at yesterday after the full-time whistle. So many Norwich fans I was talking after the game saying it's the best fans I've ever seen up at Carrow Road, and we lost 3-0. We're constantly singing after the end of the game. We're all chanting, "We love you, City," and everything. They must be thinking, "This lot of bonkers." We are, but that's not the point. Towards what Robin should be doing then is pulling them all in and saying, "Did you hear that? They're not out there. You owe them more than what they're getting at the moment. You lost 3-0, crap performance, but you're actually, if you hear the fans, you owe them.
Yeah,
they're paying good money. Season tickets, home season ticket holders have had issues, not from the players' fault, but they owe the fans now, and Robins needs to find a way to drag that out of them."
Yeah.
So,
another comment here from Keno Tomo. Sorry, apologies for my pronunciation. Robins has to worry about his own career and what the football business will think of him. So he won't be sacked, but he might get very frustrated with the owners and walk to protect himself. Do you think? I mean, that's my concern. Maybe is that he might just think, "I've had enough of this. I'm going to go." I don't think he'll get. I think he'll go on his own terms, and in some ways, I can't dispute that because of the job he's done with us. My view is I don't think he's under pressure from the board. You've got to factor in that there's a lot of things that are out of his control. The sale of Dom Hyam, the off-field stuff with the pitch. Okay, yes, you can look at it from the other viewpoint. Would be we've only won 9 games in 40 since last season, so that's a big problem. I know the overall picture was mid-table, but that's largely because we started very well last season and then we tailed off. So that's the other viewpoint. But I think you have to be careful what you wish for. That's just my view, because whoever you bring in, bearing in mind we've got to wait till January for business to reopen. You've got to work pretty much the same group of players. Can he get the best? Can the next manager, whoever that is, get the best out of these players? And that's the problem. Personally speaking, I think he's the best manager. I mean, obviously, we don't know what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's true.
But in my opinion, I can't see anyone out there who I think could do a better job than Mark Robins. That's my view. I think I have to stay. But my concern more is, does Mark Robins want to stay? Because if a club come knocking, he might think, "Well, I'll up sticks and go elsewhere." And I hope that doesn't happen. Obviously, he's done it previously, but that's my biggest fear as a fan. I don't know what you think.
Well, I agree. I think it's more of a case of Robins that in any job role, you need tools and support to carry out the job. And if you want to strip it down, the backing, he's pretty much got both hands tied behind his back, isn't he? And now he's got to try and use every ounce of his experience and try and get the team going. I mean, they come over and were sort of applauding us at the end, and you can look around and we're saying, "Look, keep your chins up, go again. Find it within yourself." These players get paid good money. They've got no time to sulk because it's their own careers they're affecting as well. You got a Gus Hamer where a lot of fans were talking about 8 to 10 million plus. 3 months ago, and he's been sent off. He gave away a goal yesterday. I'm not saying he's turned a bad player overnight, but he's certainly not putting in the performances we saw last season consistently. So he needs to now up his game. Vic, he's on a bit of a goal drought. So, he'll lose his valuation. He wants to go to a bigger club. So Robins needs to grab him and say, "Look, you've got my word. we might have to sell you January, might have to sell you the end of the season. But you need to give it your all, because ultimately, if you want that Premier League move, you're going to need to perform. If you're not performing, because I have noticed little bits yesterday and against Preston, something's not right there, and his body language. He sort of was walking in the other direction when the ball's been played. If he's lost the ball, or yes, when he gets the ball, he does run at players and he tries. But it's just I'm noticing a little slight change in attitude with Vic, and I don't know. That could be for speculation. He might have had his head turned. We might have had offers. There's rumours that Leeds came in. Again, they're just rumours, but we can only go by what we hear. And his head might have been turned. He might have gone, well, hold on a minute. 1 minute I'm being linked to a Leeds and I'm playing bottom of the league in the Championship. It could affect his attitude as a young lad. So, yeah, it could be a lot of things. But like I say, Robbins really needs to find it within himself now. I personally think he's still the right man for the job. Just because we've had a bad start, this doesn't define our season. If we're in and around the relegation zone at Christmas, I'll start being concerned. But he's got a good background staff. So it was clicking last year. We just need to find it again. And the worry I've got is that O'Hare comes back. We're talking October. He's got a month really to try and get himself match fit, and then we have a break for the World Cup. So then, next thing you know, we're halfway through the season, and we had no O'Hare at all, and we might be chasing our tails from then.
Yeah, I think, and as you say, it takes time to get yourself match fit as well. You got to get over the injury, but then you need to play games. You got to build yourself up to being match fit. It's the sharpness, and not just how far you can run up and down a football field, but it's the sharpness, reactions and things like that. That's
little turns here and there.
Yeah, and I think the other problem is the kind of lack of plan B, because I don't think we've got a squad of players where we can adapt to different formations, like say a 4-4-2. I think the way we play is we rely heavily on our wing backs to provide that support to our striker. And that's a big thing. So it's a big concern. We've got Mr. Miles here as well, who's got a nice view of the garden. He'll be
just to add on that, Mark, with a 4-4-2, I think it could work.
How would you do that? How would you make it work if you're Mark Robbins right now?
Because I would play. I'm not saying like this, but I watch a lot of Liverpool, right? And I'm not saying we're Liverpool and we've got that any percentage of class that they've got. But what tends to happen is that we've got a Sheaf that can sit in. So if the fullbacks are bombing forward, Sheaf could sit in as a 3 at the back while we're attacking, and then when we defend, we can defend as a 5. So I think if you're going to play 4-4-2, I think you can get the fullback still in the game and forward, but you can sit Sheaf back, who will just sit there and mop up anything that comes along with the two fullbacks, with the two centre backs. Sorry. So I think it could work, but I think Robbins just likes his 3 at the back. But it is concerning we haven't got a plan B, for sure.
What's your thoughts, Miles, regarding sort of formation and sort of a plan B? I like your hat, by Frank.
Fantastic.
Really like that. One of those kind of cartoon characters, isn't it?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think yesterday, the idea was to put Norwich off a little bit, off the back foot, because probably everyone's been watching us and seen us playing 2 up front, and maybe thought, let's try and just change it up a little bit, see if we can get it to 0-0 into the second half, and then bring on Vic and Godden and try and go and nick a winner. So maybe that was the plan, to freeze out the midfield with 5 in there, and that's probably what he was trying to do. But you can't make errors the way Gus Hamer did with that ball. You can't make that sort of error in the middle of the field like that. But I think that's what he was trying to do, to be honest with you. I think he just gave him something to think about, but it just didn't work, unfortunately.
Do you think Reece made the point earlier about McFadden's the pass that to Hamer, which then led to the goal. Could he have maybe McFadden anticipate a bit more that actually I can see a player pushing up on him, maybe not make the pass, maybe go a bit more route one. Do you think any blame could be attached to McFadden for that first goal?
Listen, the thing is, we're going through such a rough time at the moment. I think everyone's picking out the faults that we're making, and it's a tough time for everyone. And I know what you're saying about, maybe should we have just hoofed the ball, but I could see what, with the first goal, I could see what Hamer was trying to do. It just didn't come off, and then the defence have been caught out. The second goal. Wow, the second goal is just defensive, just calamities, isn't it? I mean, It's unbelievable, to be honest with you. I mean, the bloke's just been left at the far post and he's gone and knocked it in. And then the third goal, we're trying to pull one back from somewhere. I just think that, if that goal had stood for McFadden, it gave us a bit of momentum, and we probably could have gone on and caused them a little bit of trouble, because they probably would have thought, hey, what's going on here? So I could see why it's not been given now. I've kept watching the videos over and over again, and I can see that Tyler Walker he was slightly offside, and also he was in the way of the goalkeeper. I know he flagged for offside. He did. He stepped up and then stepped back. So he was offside. It was a great finish by all means, but after that, I just think when that second goal went in, that was a sucker punch for us, to be honest with you. And then you've got Big Vic who comes on second half, and Pookie did it in the first half, slotted it past Wilson, and he had two defenders on him. Vic really is clear through, and the keeper saved it, and that's the difference between your strikers, isn't it? And that's probably why Vic's still with us, because you can't not miss those chances. If Pookie's putting one away in the first half, in the same situation, one-on-one with the keeper, and it was probably more difficult because he had two defenders on him, maybe that's how Vic's got to look at himself, because you've got to take them chances, you've got to put them away. But I mean, we've just got to keep trying to keep positive. I mean, I listened to Mark Robins' interview this morning, and he said how fantastic we are. I mean, us fans are just fantastic for the club, and we've just got to keep our chins up, guys, whoever's listening out there tonight, because I'm telling you now, the team needs us more than anything, doesn't it? I mean, it reminds me probably the first season back in the Championship. The team needs us, and we've just got to. I know it's hard work. It is hard work. I mean, it really is. But we've just got to try and we've got to try and stay positive, guys. We've got to smile. We've got to wear the badge with pride. Every day. Wherever we are, we've got to wear the badge with pride. And then on Saturday, we've got to get up the CBS Arena, and we've just got to go and sing our hearts out for the boys, because this is massive now. We're bottom of the league. Okay, we've only played 5 games, but 5 games in, we're bottom of the league. We haven't been in this situation for a long, long, long time, and it's going to be tough for everyone. But we've got to keep smiling, all of us. We've just got to keep doing it. We've got to get behind these boys. We've got to back them all the way.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I think the disallowed goals. I've got a slightly different view on this. I personally thought it should have been given as a goal. I completely get why it was not given, because McFadden's shot, technically, you could argue that has Walker impeded the goalkeeper's vision or impeded his way of saving it. I don't think he would be saving that regardless. If he was not in that position, he would not have saved that. He was nowhere near it. And that's the luck you need at this level. When you're bottom of the league and you've got big decisions like that, I'm not suggesting at all that we would have gone on to win the game or drawn the game. I think we all be honest and say Norwich completely deserved the win, and we've got no complaints about that. But in games like that, it's a game-changing decision, and that's if you get back to 1-1, you just don't know what happens to football. We really could have got into our stride, and we could have given Norwich a real fright, and that's the thing that frustrates me as a fan, because the length of time it took to make that decision was just an absolute joke, as far as I'm concerned. I know.
It's fine margins at the moment.
It's not happening for you. It's not happening for you. I'm not. Yeah. Of course, we're making mistakes. We've all commented on that, but that was a big decision there yesterday, and that's gone against us. And that's just it's a bit of a kick in the teeth. I do. yes, technically, I've been a referee myself. I can see why he's ruled it out, but for me, I don't see he's not interfered the keeper's line of vision. The keeper's not saving that at all, and I just think it was a disgraceful decision, which really, in my opinion, if that goes in 1-1, our tails are up, and you just don't know in this game. Anything can happen in football, and that's the sort of game where if we come out with a basting draw, that'll give us a lot more confidence going to West Brom. It's just about stopping the rot at the moment. Of course we need to win games. We just need a performance. We just need a bit of belief. We need a bit of luck and something to go away. And yes, of course, things we've created our own downfall with the mistakes we make. We all know that, but we just need that bit of luck, and that's what frustrated me as a fan. And it's just frustrating because I really thought we had a good spell of play there when we got that goal, and we looked decent when they were 1 up. Actually, I thought we came to the game nicely. What's your take, Rich?
We just need to grind it out. I think we just need to, fight for the shirt, help each other out. There's been a lot of situations yet we've just been punished for every mistake we've made. And I know that sounds kind of cliche, but you look at Hamer gives the ball away, goal. Rose gives the ball away and doesn't track his man, goal. And then they break away for the third goal. Look, it doesn't matter if you lose 2 or 3-0. We were going for a goal, and I respect that. We just need to collectively, as a team, we just need to stick together. And like Miles said with the fans, they'll always back the boys. It wasn't that long ago we were in League 2 and losing stupid games at home to the likes of Forest Green and Yeovil. That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, so we need to just find it within ourselves. If that's Robbins on the training pitch or his backroom staff with their tactics, coaching the boys, or as the lads have just got to step up and sticking together. The big players like Hamer, Sheaf, Big Vic needs to get a goal because you can see that he's itching for one. And I think with Vic's chance yesterday, the problem we've got Godden, who you give him a chance and he'll score. If you put Godden in that position, he doesn't miss. Simple as that. Yeah. He just puts that away. How many times have we seen him in that position? And he scores 9 out of the 10 chances he gets given. So, Vic gives you that other outlet, like we were talking about earlier, Miles. You can play it, playing up top on his own. He gives you that different outlet that probably Godden couldn't. So they just got to find a way. We just, like you say, I'll take an ugly 1-0 against West Brom, but I don't care how poor we play. We just get that performance, and we've got something to build on then.
Yeah,
we've got 3 tough games coming up now. When you look at it, out of the start of the season now, we're only going to have 2 home games, and then we've got Luton, and then we've got Birmingham, and then we're into the international break. So, it's going to be tricky because we've only played 2 home games, and I think, to be honest with you, I do believe that this is playing on a lot of players' minds. I really believe that the rhythm has not got going. I think that if you look back, and if we had played Rotherham on the second game of the season, having got a point at Sunderland, if we'd played Rotherham on that Saturday or Sunday, but they changed it to the Sunday, if we'd played them and we put 3 or 4 past them, the team morale would be completely different. The problem we've got is we've played 1 home game out of 5 games. We've played 4 away games, and when you look at it that way, it's difficult for momentum to get going because you look at it last season, it took us till October to win our first away game, if you remember, and that was against Hull away. So when you look at the start that we've had and what's been going on at the club, it's got to be affecting everyone, no matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. You've only got to listen to how Wednesday night was at the CBS Arena. The fans weren't themselves. A lot of fans were upset. They're annoyed because, this should have been going on ages ago. We should have been playing at home. So for people that could sit there and say the team's not good enough or whatever, right, the team is good enough. They've had a tough start. 4 away games, 1 home game. We've got 1 more home game, and then we've got 2 away games. Who else has started the season like that? You can't do it. Hamer didn't play for 3 weeks, and he came in because the silly sod got sent off. So that's it. You know what I mean? So it's just frustrating. It is frustrating. We're all frustrated, but it's going to come good, guys. It's going to come good. And as you said, Reece, 1-0 on Saturday. We'll take that all day long, mate. Don't matter how it goes in. If it's a deflection, whatever, I don't care. If it's an own goal, get it in the net. It's gone in, and then we just sit back. We park the bus. That's what we've got to do. And we've got to start playing game management, because we don't do that. And it's starting to really frustrate me now. Game management. Preston played game management. They went 1-0 up, and they just messed around all game. Took the time with throw-ins, took the time with goal kicks. We don't do it. And I'm sick to death of it now. We need to start doing it. Once we go 1-0 up, we need to start playing game management. I don't care anymore. I really don't, because that's how teams win the league, and they get out of it because they play game management. And that's what we've got to try and do.
But there's only been one game this season we have been in front, and that was Millwall. And that was it. I mean, all the other games we've been conceding first. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, I think out of all looking at them, I don't want to look back. I want to look forward now, really, because there's no point looking back. I think it's a test of Mark Robbins' man management skills as well, more than anything, how to get the best out of his players. Because Robbins, as we know, has done a brilliant job. But this is a big, it's a big test for us. Who can come through this with flying colours? Who's going to hide? And I think he'll find out a lot about these players in these, well, obviously right now and in the future. And you're right, Miles. We just need a win. Get a 1-0 somewhere. Just and just build some momentum again. If you just want one win, you can go to Luton, and you never know. I mean, I know we got battered 5-0 against Luton, but football's a funny game. Luton lost to Wigan, and Luton at Kenilworth Road are very strong. So it can change very quickly in the space of a couple of games. But it's just about being resolute, being disciplined, and once we do get in front, I agree with you, Miles. We've got to just slow the game down. Yeah,
slow it down. Slow it down completely. Slow it down.
And that's what peeved me off about the Millwall game. We were 2-0 up, and we should have won that game, and then we make individual mistakes. But that's the most annoying result of all of them this season. I can accept a 3-0 defeat against Norwich, because Norwich are a quality side. I think the bottom line is, yes, it's a poor start, but as you say, it's 5 games gone. We've just got to, I don't know. We've got to. I think it's how you manage these players and try and get him working for him, because it must be tough going to work on the training field knowing that you've only picked up 1 point from 15, and it's hard. But we just got to keep the faith. I think that's the most important thing. But I think us fans, we're the 3 of us at the game. Everyone, we've all got to play our part. We played our part yesterday in the crowd. I thought our fans were absolutely tremendous yesterday. I thought the atmosphere was brilliant, despite the fact we were 3 down. You'd think we were 3 up the way the crowd were. It was just it's great. And I think you're right about what you were saying earlier, Miles, about look at the fans. Look, they're paid their hard-earned money to watch the team, and they're getting behind the lads. And it's going to be important on Saturday. West Brom, local derby. Let's get behind the lads, and let's try and get this win. We just need a win. I know West Brom are in okayish form. Maybe True Burnley, I think, but we just got to believe. It's just about belief. It's how you're thinking. It's not about, you can have the best player in the world, but if he's mentally not there in your head, it's not going to be easy. It's like that in life in general. You just got to have the confidence, and if we just get that bit of luck, that 1 goal, that 1 win, it can ignite your season. And that's why I was a bit annoyed about yesterday, because that disallowed goal, we just need that bit of luck. We really could have done with that, because I think. Okay, I'm not suggesting we'd have gone on to win the game, but it would have given us a bit of confidence, a bit of a lift. And that's just not going for us at the moment. But we just got to keep working hard. That's all you can do. That's just my view.
I think that's what you're saying, Mark, about the characters. I mean, last season was, for a long time, I remember the football we were playing. It was fantastic to watch. And I know we tailed off at the end of last season, but we were still the young. We've got a young team, and now this is a test of their character. And it's now, when things are going good, it's good, right? But when things are going bad, who's going to step up and be counted? Who's going to be the one that's going to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and say, right, we're going to turn it on. This is the game. And not saying it's going to happen, but if we get 2 wins on the bounce now, if we're staying positive, everything changes. Going into the belief changes all around the team, the club. If we sneak a 1-0 here at home and then 1-0 at Luton, for example, all of a sudden the belief's back. We can win football matches. We've beaten 2 good sides that we know we're going to be in and around the playoffs this season. And all of a sudden we go into the international break and the mindset's changed. The fans, the mindset has changed. And the team all of a sudden have got a bit of momentum to take into that break and put it on the... and all of a sudden they're training throughout the football break with a different attitude.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, it's just... It's about, knowing... As a Mark Robins, knowing who to put your arm around the shoulder and knowing who's give a bit of a kick up the backside.
He will know that.
Robbins will know that. He's been manager of the club for long enough to know which he'll know the personalities of the players. I think, let's just bring a comment in from Ken Tomo. We should ask each fan to send a player positive emails so that they know we are behind them, not just criticise them. It will help lift spirits up. If they got a couple of thousand emails, I tend to agree that I think.
Love it.
I do. I love all that. I guess we're all, social media can be is a pretty vitriol place when things aren't going your way. It's great when you're winning games, but you find out a lot about people when you're losing games. And I do believe in these squad of players. I think we have got a good set of players. But it's just a confidence thing at the moment. People are making mistakes, and I guess it doesn't help that every time Dick and Harry are criticising them. But it's just a case where they've got to put out their heads now. They've got to focus on training in the week. They've got to work hard and be ready for West Brom. That's all you can do. I don't think it's helped that, for example, we've had a game on a Saturday, then we had a couple of games off because of the cancellations. And the players are not in that rhythm. They're not in that
it's messed about.
They've lost their rhythm, and that can mess about with you. So I do have a bit of sympathy with the players on that score. Obviously, we played Preston in midweek and yesterday, so we've now got a bit more continuous games, and it's just a case of working hard in training. And Robbins will need to assess who, in his mind, is mentally ready for the fight, who's ready for West Brom, and take the game to them, because there's no easy game in this league. You've got to be on it. If you're not, what happened yesterday. You get punished for mistakes. And
listen,
all of them.
I got to shoot.
Yeah, mate. All right, thanks, Miles.
No worries, Miles. Take care.
See you later, guys. Enjoy the evening. See everyone Thursday.
Yeah, we'll keep it positive.
See you later.
Cheers.
Yeah.